So, over the past few months, I've been discussing my issue with third parties kind of blowing off the Switch, not making the Switch versions of their game a priority, and then not being surprised, not being sad for them when those games don't perform well on the system. And Dark Souls Remastered for Nintendo Switch, I think, is going to be the next one of those games. This title was originally supposed to come out back in May, on all platforms. But surprise, surprise, the Nintendo Switch version was delayed into the summer. And the team pretty much went dark on the whole thing after that. As summer has continued on, people keep asking, where is it? When is it coming out? We're heading into the end of the season soon. What's the deal? Today, we've finally learned. Dark Souls Remastered for the Nintendo Switch will launch on October 19th. October. My favorite summer month of them all. What idiots. I honestly, if this game hit its original intended release date alongside the other versions, I honestly think the Switch version could have sold the best, could have outsold the game on other platforms, could have pulled a Sonic Mania Plus. I really do. We first learned about this remaster during a Nintendo Direct, and people were freaking hyped for it. And I think the potential of Dark Souls on the go was a more intriguing offer than the standard remaster of the game on other platforms. But yeah, as time went on, the delay, we didn't hear much about it. That hype has died out, and I think setting it with this October release date is kind of going to be the nail in the coffin. Because yeah, this game is going to come out in the midst of heavy holiday hitter releases. About a week before Red Dead Redemption 2, did they not get the memo that every other game wants to avoid Red Dead Redemption 2 like the plague? I guess not. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe From Software is set on upsetting Rockstar's next mega release with this remaster. They have no fear. Probably not. This is why the planning of your releases is so important. May was pretty dead. The summer has mostly been as well, especially for the Switch. You didn't have any juggernauts to go up against, and plenty of people were looking for games to add to their library. Now it's going to be the complete opposite. I mean, I know myself, I'm budgeting for all the stuff I want to pick up between now and Christmas because it's a lot. Like I mentioned in October, Red Dead 2, I think that is going to be the biggest selling game of this holiday. And I know a lot of you who own multiple platforms are looking to get that game as well. But let's scratch that, because a lot of people like to pretend that the different console exclusives don't compete with each other. Like, there's nobody with a PS4 and a Switch, an Xbox One and a Switch, a PC and a Switch. It's impossible. So for those people, let's pretend. Let's pretend that this game is only going up against other Switch releases. Obviously, everyone is looking at titles like Pokemon and Smash. Those are going to be the big releases for Switch, and they come out a bit later in the year. But let's scratch that too. Let's go even further. Let's pretend that Dark Souls is only competing against Switch games that also launch in October. Right, that really narrows it down. Yeah, you still have Mega Man 11, The World Ends With You, Super Mario Party, and Starlink Battle for Atlas, which, don't forget, Fox and his Arwing will be fully playable in the Switch version of that game. All of these titles are a higher priority for me. I'm more excited to try all of these games than I am Dark Souls Remastered. And as I mentioned, the stuff that's going to be released on other platforms, but yeah, even the Switch alone is going to be crowded during this time. It's the holidays, that's what happens. At least perhaps other companies will be able to take this as a lesson on what not to do, right? I guess if that wasn't already obvious. You'd think it was, but clearly not for From Software. And like I always say, what pisses me off about this is we'll probably see more of the BS reasoning to come out of this, right? When this game that they delayed, went silent on, didn't communicate with the fans about, releases during the most crowded release time of the year, and underperforms, what's the logic going to be? You know, are they going to say it was because of the delay? Are they going to say it's because of the crowded release window? No. They're going to go, oh, I guess Nintendo Switch owners didn't really want this game. It was all talk. They weren't actually really excited for it. They said they wanted it, and then when it came out, they didn't buy it. Yeah, that's what we're going to hear. And since that's what we're going to hear, let me tell you guys in advance, no, it was your extremely poor handling of this release that will result in its sales suffering. Now, I'm not saying I want this game to fail. quite the opposite. I like the Souls games a lot. I want this to be a kick-ass port that garners new fans of the series on Nintendo. In the early days of the system, this was one of the franchises I mentioned I really wanted to see get ported over. I'd love to see them release more of these games on the Switch. I even went as far to say I think it'd be incredible if Nintendo ended up getting its own Souls game in the vein of Bloodborne. Imagine that, one of these games built specifically for the Switch. How cool would that be? But this game, which will surely gauge the future of their involvement with the Switch, has been put in a position where all this is much, much less likely to happen because it's probably not going to perform. Now, I am going to buy this myself still because I cover the Switch and I definitely want to cover this game. But if I was the average consumer, there would be no way. There's just way too much coming out between October and the end of the year on all consoles that I want to buy. Way more than this port of a, 7-year-old game at this point. And yeah, I think that's how many other people are going to feel about it as well. Anyway, with that, this video is a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Dark Souls Remastered for Nintendo Switch, finally getting a release date in the comments, and how do you think it's going to fare with it coming out in October? Hey guys, while From Software wanted to keep you in the dark over the development of Dark Souls for the Switch, I don't want you to be in the dark with updates on this channel, so hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you want to keep the conversation going, follow me on Twitter @JohnnyZakari, and join my Discord, Shy Guy and Friends, link to both in the description below, and as always, thanks for watching.